with a big heart and sensibilities about them. Mars in Pisces represents the peaceful warrior. Let's talk about Mars's ingress into Pisces. Yes, this is our second planet changing signs this week, which tells us that there is definitely a tidal shift of some kind in the collective. Always when you see multiple planets changing signs around the same time, it's always a big deal. And we know that Mars just recently started a whole new cycle with Saturn. And we also are seeing a new Jupiter Neptune conjunction happening right now, too, which is something that only occurs every 13 years. So there's a lot of sort of new celestial energies incoming at this time. So Mars's shift into Pisces is an interesting one because, on one hand, we're seeing sort of a dispersing of the malefic mayhem happening in the sign of Aquarius, where we had Mars and Saturn traveling closely together for some time. When we get those two planets together, we're very often reminded of the work that needs to be done, or the things that we need to adhere to, or the rules that we must follow. We're seeing a lot in development there with unionization and everything, as I had forecasted. We're actually seeing that happening now. So Mars is sort of dispersing this energy where we had all of the hard planets sort of in this one area of our chart. And now Mars is moving into Pisces, where we do have this beautiful, enchanting party that's happening with Jupiter and Neptune and Venus. So this is interesting because I feel like Mars is kind of showing up to the party. It's like when you go to a party and everyone's kind of just sipping wine in the kitchen, it's kind of low key, but then someone shows up with the fireball whiskey, or then someone shows up with the jello shots, or someone comes in and they're just high energy and it sort of takes the event to the next level. That's sort of what Mars is doing here. Mars is bringing a little friction. Mars is bringing a little edge. And I was thinking, it was getting a little slippery here in Pisces. And yeah, we all know a little friction goes a long way. So yeah, that is what's happening here. Mars also does well in the sign of Pisces. Mars holds triplicity here. So we kind of get the best of both worlds with Mars and Pisces, because on one hand, this is a warrior placement where Mars is not afraid to fight. Mars is not overly confident, though, with the sword either. We kind of get the best of both worlds, where we have someone who is willing to fight if need be, but they're not coming in, just like making empty threats or whatever. Because we know that's the energy of Mars. Mars is confrontational. Mars is brazen. But here in the sign of Pisces, Mars is backed up by the morals and values of Jupiter. So we have like a peaceful warrior. We have like a rainbow warrior. We have someone who's willing to fight for the cause. So thinking 2 years ago, when Mars and Saturn were first conjoined in Aquarius, we talked about what that meant. That was all the new like quarantine standards that came in. But what happened when Mars left Pisces last time was people left the safety of their homes in the face of this unknown virus. Like people still didn't know a whole lot about coronavirus back then. But what people did know was that they were willing to leave their house to stand up for something that really mattered for them. So yeah, I'm talking about the George Floyd protests and the Black Lives Matter movement taking to this whole new level in the wake of that tragic event. And yeah, we saw like 100 nights of protests, if not more, in certain cities. And so that was Mars in Pisces. That was people coming together and saying, this is something worth fighting for. This is something we need to fight for at the cost of, or at the risk rather of me catching something. So that was a really like heartfelt time in my life. I had a 1-month-old baby, so I of course couldn't go anywhere, but I would have had I not. But just watching people on my feed and the news go out and put what was worth fighting for over their own, sort of safety. And that was really moving for me. And I think about how that could possibly show up this year. So if we're seeing another similar pattern, what's worth fighting for at this point? What's worth coming together to fight for together? Because it's a water sign. There's a merging quality about it. So I think about Mars and Saturn fresh off the bendings of the nodes, the themes around workers' rights, fair wages. Also, maybe people are protesting war. We keep waiting for the ceasefires to happen. We keep waiting to see things toned down. Things certainly have slowed down to a certain degree, but it's still happening. So we're still sort of waiting to see what's going to happen on the world stage with the conflicts that are happening. So Mars in Pisces could show up as like a peaceful protest once again, if we're following a similar pattern from the Mars and Saturn conjunction in Aquarius from last year. So we'll just have to see. On another note, Mars is an immutable sign. And I'm a fan of Mars and mutable signs because this helps us to sort of check off the little things that have just kind of been waiting in the wings on our to-do list. I think that Mars in mutable signs helps us to check off those tiny tasks that we've just been like waiting to do. It's really good at that. Mars in mutable signs has a harder time focusing on sort of like the long term or like the large project that you need to do. So this is all the little stuff that you need to do. So this should help you to catch up with that. And especially if there's something artistic. Mars is in the sign of Pisces. It's going to be co-present with Venus and Jupiter and Neptune. So wherever we can direct our energy to create more unity, to create more peace, like sometimes you have to, I think that's something we're going to talk about in our full moon video too, is sometimes you have to confront the bear. Well, maybe not the bear, but in order to get like the peace that you desire or you envision for yourself. Like there's something that we have to spearhead in order to get there. So Mars wants to create harmony. Mars wants to create beauty. Mars wants to bring people together. So if there's anything artistic or unifying or romantic that you're desiring to bring forth, Mars and Pisces will definitely help us to do that. So that's a little bit about Mars and Pisces. I know we'll keep talking about it, but that's just a little preview of what's to come. And we'll keep following it. But for now, that was your Mars and Pisces astrology shot of the day. Bye. Thanks so much for tuning in with me today. Book your next astrology reading with me by visiting my website, where you can also sign up for my newsletter and stay up to date on courses, events, and new articles. Bye.